We're standing at Washus Creek here in Central Oregon. This is one of the most pristine waterways historically in this neck of the woods. The Deschutes Land Trust has taken on a massive reclamation effort, restoring this river to its natural state. It's 41 miles in length. It's been tampered with since white settlers moved in here in about 1865. Let's find out what the Deschutes Land Trust is doing to reclaim this section, about a 6-mile section, find out why and how.
My understanding from our friends down at Warm Springs is that Washus means the place we cross. And we know that this was heavily used by the Native Americans for thousands and thousands of years. Well, Central Oregon is facing huge changes, and it's not something just out in the future. It's happening in front of our eyes. Climate change, population growth, none of that's going to change. And so we need to adapt. And one of the things we're trying to do is protect this resource, restore it so that it's as healthy and viable and resilient as it can possibly be, so that it can withstand the changes that we're going to be seeing. If we do that, we give a whole host of different species an opportunity to move from one place that's no longer habitable to a place that maybe is a little cooler, a little wetter, more vegetation in terms of cover, maybe food sources. It allows the wildlife populations to redistribute themselves over the landscape, which will be incredibly important, particularly as climate change plays out.
What you see behind me here is the old terrace that will once again become a meadow, a wet meadow like it once was historically. So meandering channels, low gradient, low energy, slow moving water through here. That'll create a lot of diversity of habitats for fish and wildlife. By restoring all this habitat, we are recreating, or at least getting to the point where that complexity can once again be present on the landscape, and it provides a lot of the needed spawning areas for fish, a lot of the sorting of the gravels that the fish need, which doesn't happen currently, so that they can lay their redds, their nests for eggs. And then it provides a lot of refugia, a lot of areas for smaller fish to hide, one during storm events, two from predators. So that's, at the fish perspective, we're getting all of these different benefits by doing these types of restoration projects. The wood provides structure until other trees and other plants grow up to stabilize the soil. And then the wood also redirects flow, dissipates energy, and what happens is when the wood interacts with water and you have a channel moving through here, you get scour under these log jams, and that creates cover and habitat for the fish. So the wood is an integral part of these types of projects. It's really important. And what we've noticed on our past restoration projects upstream of here is that we've seen with these types of projects the water table raise significantly, which supports a lot of the riparian vegetation, and then also that water comes back into the stream at low flow periods in the late summer and fall, and so it acts as a sponge in a way.
When the dams went in down on the Deschutes back in the late 50s, early 60s, they were originally built to allow fish passage. Unfortunately, it was marginally successful. And in those days, we didn't appreciate just how important the native wild runs were. And we felt like we could substitute hatcheries for the wild production. And so in the late 60s, they quit passing fish and they went to a hatchery production system. We now know that the wild fish harbor important genetic material for the future. And so we're trying to give these wild fish a chance to expand their habitat area, the places they can come up and spawn the next generation. It's important to their future, but I would argue it's just as important to our future. If we can see success here, if we can bring families, kids out, whether it's in their class or on projects, to explore this place, to plant willows, to release fish, if we do that, those kids, those families will be invested in the success of this and invested in the future.